In the spring of 1901, off the jagged coast of the tiny Greek island of Antikythera, a group of sponge divers seeking shelter from a storm stumbled upon a graveyard of history. Hidden 60 meters beneath the surface lay a massive Roman shipwreck, a treasure trove of marble statues, bronze figures, and ancient luxury. But among the gold and the art, they pulled a single, unremarkable lump of corroded green bronze that looked like a common rock. For decades, this fragment sat ignored in the back rooms of the National Archaeological Museum in Athens. It appeared to be nothing more than a piece of calcified debris. However, as the bronze began to dry and crack, a sight emerged that sent shockwaves through the scientific world: the distinct, unmistakable teeth of a gear. How was this possible? According to every history book ever written, complex interlocking gears and precision clockwork did not exist in the ancient world. They wouldn't appear in human history for another 1,500 years. Was it yet? Here it was, a mechanical anomaly recovered from a ship that sank a century before the birth of Christ. As modern technology finally allowed us to peer inside using X-ray and 3D CT scans, the mystery only deepened. We weren't just looking at a machine. We were looking at a 2,000-year-old analog computer, a device so advanced, so mathematically perfect, that it shouldn't exist. Today, we decode the secrets of the Antikythera Mechanism, an artifact that proves our ancestors possessed a level of genius that history tried to forget. The journey from a corroded lump of bronze to a recognized masterpiece of ancient engineering was a slow and painstaking process that spanned over a century. When the fragments were first pulled from the depths of the Mediterranean, they were soft, fragile, and covered in layers of calcium and marine growth. It wasn't until the 1950s that researchers began to suspect that the 82 separate fragments were part of a single, highly complex machine. Early attempts to clean the artifact were dangerous. The bronze was so brittle that any physical contact risked turning the world's only ancient computer into dust. The true breakthrough came with the advent of high-resolution X-ray technology, and eventually, the use of microfocus computed tomography. Scientists from the Antikythera Mechanism Research Project used an 8-ton X-ray machine to peer through the thick layers of corrosion. What they saw inside was a mechanical nightmare that defied historical logic. They discovered more than 30 hand-cut bronze gears, some with teeth only a few millimeters long, all perfectly interlocking to perform complex mathematical calculations. The restoration revealed that the device was originally housed in a wooden box, covered in thousands of tiny Greek inscriptions that served as a user manual. These inscriptions described the movements of the sun, the phases of the moon, and the specific positions of the 5 known planets. Even more shocking was the discovery of a dial that predicted the 4-year cycle of the ancient Olympic Games. The level of precision required to align these gears meant that the ancient Greeks had mastered a form of mechanical miniaturization that the rest of the world wouldn't see again until the Enlightenment. It wasn't just an artifact, it was a ghost from a future that never happened. The Antikythera Mechanism is not just a mystery of history, it is a profound challenge to the laws of technological evolution. The most baffling aspect of its internal anatomy is the use of differential gearing. This is a sophisticated mechanical system that allows for the calculation of sums and differences between 2 different rotating inputs. To find such a system in an artifact dated back to roughly 100 BC is the equivalent of finding a jet engine inside a Victorian horse carriage. Before this discovery, historians believed that differential gears were not invented until the 16th century. This device single-handedly moved the timeline of human mechanical genius back by nearly 2,000 years. Furthermore, the mechanism contains a pin-and-slot device that is nothing short of breathtaking. The ancient Greeks had observed that the moon appears to move across the sky at varying speeds, sometimes faster, sometimes slower, due to its elliptical orbit. We now know this through Kepler's laws of planetary motion, discovered in the 1600s. Yet, the creator of the Antikythera Mechanism built a mechanical simulator that used one gear set slightly off-center to mimic this exact lunar variation. It was a physical representation of high-level calculus, rendered in bronze, centuries before the formal language of calculus was even conceived. This level of scientific precision suggests that the ancient world was on the verge of a full-scale mechanical revolution. The gears were not just roughly filed, they were calculated with a degree of mathematical accuracy that requires a deep understanding of prime numbers and planetary cycles. When you look at the impossible science inside this box, you are looking at a missing link in human history. It forces us to ask, what other technologies did they possess? If the knowledge required to build this computer was lost for 15 centuries, we have to wonder how many other advancements were swallowed by time. leaving us to reinvent the wheel over and over again. The existence of the Antikythera Mechanism opens a door to a shadow history that suggests the ancient world was far more technologically advanced than we dare to imagine. The most compelling theory links the device to the legendary mathematician Archimedes. Historical records from Roman writers like Cicero mention that Archimedes possessed a planetarium that could replicate the motions of the sun and moon. While Archimedes was killed during the siege of Syracuse in 212 BC, it is highly probable that his school of thought continued, leading to the creation of this specific device nearly a century later. This implies that the Antikythera Mechanism wasn't a one-off miracle. It was part of a thriving tradition of high-tech engineering. This leads us to a mind-bending speculation. Were the ancient Greeks on the brink of an industrial revolution 2,000 years before it actually happened? If a civilization can build an analog computer, it is only a few steps away from developing automated clocks, steam engines, and advanced navigation tools. Some historians suggest that if the Roman Empire hadn't collapsed, or if the Greek scientific centers had remained funded, the world might have seen a steampunk era in 300 AD. We might have reached the moon by the year 1000. Instead, this pinnacle of human genius was lost to the sea, and the knowledge required to build it was erased by centuries of war and religious upheaval. On the more speculative fringe, the device is often labeled an OOP art, out-of-place artifact. Some argue that the gap between the primitive tools of the time and the precision of these gears is simply too wide to explain. This has sparked theories ranging from time-traveling artifacts to lost ancient civilizations like Atlantis that possessed superior knowledge. While mainstream science rejects these claims, it cannot ignore the dark age of technology that followed. The fact that humanity forgot how to build these gears for 1,500 years is a haunting reminder of how fragile our progress truly is. It suggests that human history isn't a straight line of improvement, but a series of peaks and valleys where great empires and their computers can simply vanish into the dark. The legacy of the Antikythera Mechanism serves as a humbling reminder of the fragility of human knowledge. It stands as a silent witness to a forgotten era of brilliance, proving that our ancestors were not just philosophical thinkers, but master engineers capable of conceptualizing the universe through mechanical precision. For over 15 centuries, the secret of these complex gears lay buried under layers of silt and salt, while the world above regressed into a technological dark age. This artifact forces us to confront a terrifying reality. Progress is not a guaranteed straight line. If a device as sophisticated as an analog computer could be invented and then completely erased from the collective memory of mankind, we must wonder what other triumphs of ancient genius are currently lying at the bottom of our oceans. The mechanism remains the ultimate enigma, a ghost of a scientific revolution that was cut short by time and tide.